Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
It can fairly be said that American road racing entered the 21st century with the debut of Circuit of the Americas as host of the 2012 U.S. Grand Prix. The first track in the United States designed specifically for Formula One, COTA was conceived by promoter Tavo Helmand and motorcycle world champion Kevin Schwantz and designed with the assistance of noted race circuit designer Herman Tilke. The ambitious COTA project was revealed in July of 2010 when Helmand announced plans to build the track on 900 acres of undeveloped land near Austin, Texas. With the backing from billionaire Red McCombs, plans quickly proceeded. The circuit's design was submitted to the FIA for approval in December of 2010, with construction beginning later that month. The FIA issued its final approval of the circuit in September of 2012, some 60 days before the inaugural Formula One race. The 3.4-mile Grand Prix circuit features COTA's signature corner, turn number 1, a tight hairpin at the crest of a 133-foot rise, followed by a rapid descent into a series of fast, sweeping corners, leading to another hairpin. From there, the cars follow a 5/8-mile straightaway before a complex series of multi-apex corners in a stadium-like setting, returning the cars to the pit straight. In addition to the state-of-the-art circuit, pits, and garage facilities, COTA features impressive spectator and VIP amenities, including a 251-foot-tall observation tower, several stadium grandstand seating sections, and spectator mounds for general admission viewing. Along with Formula One, COTA has also hosted the V8 Supercars, MotoGP, the FIA World Endurance Championship, the American Le Mans Series, and IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series, as well as various clubs and vintage events. Tonight, it's round number 9 of the PFR Sports Car Championship, and it's next on HBR TV. Qualifying already underway here at the circuit. Let's take a look at the race details for this evening. Of course, a 1-hour sprint race, and it is just that, a sprint. These are typically endurance racing machines. This might as well be the final hour of a 24-hour event. They're going to be getting after it from the word go, but let's take a look at it here. 65-degree temperature. Relatively cool here for Austin, Texas. Also relatively dry, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 7-mile-per-hour breeze that may affect these race cars down the straightaways. Again, track length 3.36 miles to be specific. Let's go down trackside to see where everybody's stacking out in the qualifying session. We'll take a look here with Terry Crouch. Terry's fast lap so far, a minute 52.833. Lee Tucker, a minute 54.9. Flo Doms, another TLDR Sim Sport driver, not taking a time as of yet. Likely to be a contender for pole position in LMP2. Currently in GT, Daniel Clark fastest, 2:06.253. He's in the BMW this week. Now Brian Zinn goes top of the board, 2:06.032, just edges out Clark. Update from Sean Roberts in the stream chat says, good evening, Steve. Sciatic still acting up, but I'm in for the full 60 tonight. New load cell installed and ready to go. Well, Sean, we wish you the best of luck, man. Been through that sciatic nerve pain before myself. Not fun. Certainly not fun in a race car, even in a simulated race car. It still takes quite a bit of force to push the brake pedals down on these things. It's a workout. Yes, it's a video game, but man, you do break a sweat doing it because it really does take some significant force to not only hit the brake pedals in these cars and these systems, these simulators, but also is turning the steering wheel. Especially if you're working on a direct drive type system. It can break bones if you're not careful. Dave Seats back in the Mercedes, newly adorned TLDR Sim Sport colors on his Mercedes. Terry Crouch still fastest, minute 52. Flo Doms gets there second, quick, but a minute 54.050. About a second, a little over a second, 1.2, almost a second and a quarter back is the 13 of Flo Doms. Again, Terry Crouch going to have to go to the back this week. I think Dave Seats as well, if I remember correctly. Series does, I don't want to say reward the winners with a win penalty, but they do punish the winners so that they don't consistently win every single week. But in some cases, right now, with Terry Crouch and Flo Doms, at least in LMP2, it seems to be a back and forth. Who's the fast guy? Who has to start in the back? Who gets to start towards the front? That really kind of determines who ends up winning many of these races. Those two drivers have been kind of the class of the field all season long. Kevin Blue, though, third quick so far. Andrew Locke last week. Relatively dominant performance last week, but caught up with some lap traffic late in the race. His race came to an early end, and subsequently, I think he is not in the session here tonight. Checking on Flo Doms. He's on a flyer once again. Again, 3 laps. The allotment for qualifying. He's going to work the final corner here. It looks like he is. He's on the main straight. Finish up his lap. Flo Doms, a minute 53.349. Not quite the Terry Crouch time. With that, though, just a few minutes left in the session. We're going to step aside here. We'll be right back. The conclusion of qualifying in our starting grid after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Circuit of the Americas, we're watching Mike Hamlin here. Remember, he was on pole position in GT last week. Didn't make it to the start-finish line before he was in trouble. Lost the car in the final corner coming to the green. Had pretty significant damage to contend with and did not rejoin the race, so didn't even start last week. We'll see if he's got a good time here in qualifying. He's on his first lap. Again, only a couple of minutes remaining in the qualifying session. We'll see if Hamlin can throw down a flyer here. Currently 8th on the board, 209.45. Brian Zinn's 205.86 in the Porsche. He's fastest. Terry Crouch still fastest in LMP2 over Flo Doms. It looks to be all those drivers are either done with their session or opting to not take a time. EJ Fuellner and Sean Roberts both neglecting to take a time in qualifying. They will start out at the back. Mike Hamlin with Limitless Motorsports. Couple more corners, 20-turn road course here. That final corner, turn 20. It doesn't feel like 20 turns when you're out here turning laps. So many of them so fluid. A lot of rhythm involved. Oh, Hamlin goes a little wide there. If he gets an off track, that's not going to count that lap. 209.46 officially for Hamlin. He's going to sit there in the 8th position. While we have a minute, we'll take a look at practice results from early on. Terry Crouch was quickest, a minute 52.541. Not quite as quick in qualifying as he was in practice. Flo Doms was second fast. Almost a full 8/10 off the pace. You see the times as they go down back to P10 and James Coulibaly. Then GT3. Fastest time in that practice session was the Mercedes of Dave Seats, a 2:05.867. Daniel Klar was just 0.03 off of that. Brian Zinn, Nick Batista, Rob Henry rounding out the top 5. So with that field starting to grid up, let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole with a lap time of 1 minute 52.743, it's the number 59 LMP2 machine of Terry Crouch. Outside front row will be staying on that front row. It's Flo Doms. Again, Terry Crouch, with his win, he'll have to go to the back. Kevin Blue starting in P3. Chris Gennarelli starts 4th. Alec Vorotnik will start in P5. Starting 6th is Lee Tucker. Brandon Domain rolls off from P7. 8th goes to Chris Pio. Starting 9th, James Coulibaly. 10th goes to EJ Fuellner. Sean Roberts will roll at the end of that field in 11th. Pole position in GT, 12th overall, it's Brian Zinn. Then 13th goes to Dave Seats. Daniel Klar rolls 14th. 15th starter, Rob Henry. Josh Heggie will start P16. 17th starter is going to be Nick Batista. 18th, Travis Stevens. Mike Hamlin, fast last week, didn't get to turn any laps. He'll start 19th overall. 20th, Drew Prowl. Chris Goins rolls from 21st. 22nd, Nick Matthews. And 23rd, last but not least in our hearts, Hostile Intent Gaming Zone, Joe Tucker. It's your starting grid here from Circuit of the Americas. We're going to have one formation lap before we officially go green. Field not rolling just yet. They are positioned down the long straightaway between turns 11 and 12 to work through a handful of corners into the stadium section before we get to the green flag. But we're starting to roll away right now. Again, a staggered start for this series. The LMP2 field will take the green first, build a little bit of a gap between the GT cars, and then GT will take the green as well. Got to thank you guys for tuning in for tonight's broadcast. Of course, the playoffs for the Coca-Cola Esports Series and iRacing starts tonight. But if you're here watching us, we certainly do appreciate the attention versus, the pros, the iRacing pros over in the Coca-Cola Series. I stand corrected. Terry Crouch starting from the pole. Flo Doms ends up going to the tail of the field. It says it's usually between those two drivers each week, and of course, 50-50 shot, not get it wrong. Field working the final corner. Pace car's already down. Wait for Barney, the flagman, to wave the green.
Green.
Green in the air. We're racing from Circuit of the Americas. GT field up to speed as well. Everyone clean through turn number 1. Josh Heggie, Travis Stevens with an issue on the start. Seems like they've gathered it back up. Terry Crouch still with the race lead down the backstretch between turns 11 and 12. Now into the stadium section, turns 17 and 18. Hard left turn 19, then we set them up nicely for the final corner, turn number 20. Dom's already up into the 6th position overall. Remember, he started at the very tail of this field. 1 lap in, he's gone from, 11th up into P6 already. Flo on the move, still in some traffic, working on Lee Tucker right now. As we continue to watch this battle, looks like Mike Hamlin, his bad luck continuing. Already out of this one. Let's take a look, see what happened here with Mike. He did have an off-track situation. We'll go full speed here to watch it. Oh, just loses the rear end of the car. Not significant impact to the Armco there, but he does check out and goes straight to pit lane. Meanwhile, Daniel Clark in the 2nd position, not too far back from race leader Brian Zinn. Maintaining a gap of just under 8/10, well now just under 7/10 of a second. Clark gains a lot of ground there, backed up his corner entry, but Zinn gets the drive out, extends his advantage to over 8/10, but once again, he's just backing up the corner entry there. Clark gains a lot because he's driving it deeper into the corner than that Porsche. Clark getting more of that inside curve in turn 1 than he really bargained for. Loses a bit of ground. Gap now 1.3 seconds up to the race leader, Brian Zinn. I don't have any experience on this racetrack in that Porsche, but it does certainly seem to suit the handling characteristics quite well, this racetrack. BMW, though, rather balanced, good on the brakes. Flo Dom's recently having an issue, slid off track, but again, he's still a position higher than he was the last time we checked on him. He's working on Alec Vorotnik at the current time. Let's go back and see what happened here with Flo. Might have just been an off track in general, and maybe not a big deal. And is there contact? This looks like turn number 1. Now, Flo just goes a little bit wide. Totally normal, and really, he didn't even get the left sides all the way over that exit curbing. Flo having some connection issues. Usually we see that out of the 4 of Alec Vorotnik. Once again, you see Flo disappear here. Again, that's a connection-related issue. It's his internet likely not able to send the data correctly to iRacing, therefore iRacing unable to render it properly on our end. As long as he comes back in enough time, that's not necessarily a big issue. Where it becomes a problem, and we've talked about this many times, is if you disappear while battling for position. Say you're Alec Vorotnik here. All of a sudden, say Flo disappears. Well, you don't know where he is. You can't change lanes. You can't do anything. You just got to be careful because there's that chance that if you push, all of a sudden you're running faster than the disappearing car. That car could effectively reappear literally right in your lap, in which case both cars would crash and on to the end of the day for both of those guys. Flo seems to be doing a little bit better, though. He's up into the 4th position. Still 10 seconds back from race leader Terry Crouch. Race leader and teammate Terry Crouch. Checking on the GT battle once again. It's no longer much of a battle. Brian Zinn has gapped Daniel Klar in P2 to about 2.2 seconds, just under that is. So we're down the backstretch here between turns 11 and 12. Zinn on the charge. Let's ride on board with the Porsche as he tries to get around Circuit of the Americas. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that might disagree, but is there a better sound than a mid-engine Porsche? A little oversteer through 16. Back in the stadium complex. Missed his turn in for turn 20. Still maintaining the gap back to 2nd place. Check on Dave Seats in the Mercedes. Seats still running 5th in class. He's actually down a few spots from where he started today. Now, if I remember correctly, I think Dave actually had to go to the tail before this one kicked off. Noticing that Elliot Hellier not here again tonight, was really looking forward to Sebring last week, one of his favorite places to run. Again, Elliot over in the UK decided he was going to take a nap, and I guess the alarm didn't go off, so he missed last week's race. I really hope that's not the case this week. Elliott, of course, another TLDR Simsport driver, certainly very quick just about everywhere we go. He's a top contender for the win every week. Flo Doms, though, taking over the 2nd spot here, already less than 10 minutes in. He's still 12 seconds back from Terry Crouch. I don't know if that's insurmountable or not. He may need a mistake or two out of Terry Crouch, but maybe he can catch him through the pit strategy alone. Again, Terry certainly has the pace on the 13 machine at this point. Terry's best lap, minute 53.59. Flo's best lap. Granted, he has been working through traffic, a minute 55:37. Clear sailing out in front of the 13, though, as he tries to reel in race leader Terry Crouch. He can probably turn some pretty quick laps. Question will become, how hard do you want to push? You want to take care of the tires? Do you want to go full send the whole way around every lap? This is a tough place to do that at. Of course, you've got trouble on either side with those Armco barriers. Yes, there's runoff, but not a ton of it. Deficit just growing between Crouch and Flo Doms. It's 13.2 seconds now. I don't know if it's just a track that Terry really likes. And that's where the pace is coming from. He's a very calculating driver behind the wheel. Granted, he does usually have pace everywhere that we go. But I gotta wonder, is he pushing? Or is he just that fast all on his own? Meanwhile, Sean Roberts in pit lane here. Sean Roberts, a new paint scheme this week with a student driver paint scheme. Bright yellow, so no one can miss him. Seems relatively early for pit stops, though. Roberts in the pits. Doesn't put it up on the jack. Gotta wonder if his sciatic issues are kicking in once again. He was going to try and go the full distance here tonight. No, just topping off the fuel. Short pitting, trying the undercut here. Not so much for tires. They always say, we've talked about it so many times, the best strategy in road racing is be the first driver to pit last. Think about that for a little while. Let me know when you figure it out, but it usually does tend to pan out. First driver to pit last, you kind of work the strategy backwards as far as fuel is concerned. I would kind of anticipate a tire stop at one point here. Maybe his final stop, the next stop. Again, it's too early, only 12 minutes in when he made the pit stop tonight. First time by, just for fuel. I wouldn't have suggested taking tires, but the next time he's going to need to get a whole lot more fuel put in. He's going to be in the box a little bit longer. Might have an opportunity to put some tires on that number 66 machine, if only one side. Get an anti-clockwise circuit here at Circuit of the Americas. 20 corners. And out of those 20 corners, 11 of them, and my math could be wrong here, I can't count that well, but 11 of them are to the left. So prospectively, you could take that opportunity, change right side tires only. As that is predominantly where the forces are going. Out of the 20 turns, 11 of them being to the left. Maybe you take that chance while you're putting fuel in it. That's new this season in iRacing. You're able to put fuel in these cars at the same time as changing tires. It used to be you had to do one first, then the other. So it was a significant disadvantage to try and take tires during your pit stop. A lot of drivers would double stint just to save that track position, save that time. But with that most recent update, can do fuel and tires at the same time. So we'll see on that next set of pit stops the drivers opt to do just that. Sean Roberts again being one of them, coming down here at lap 6. Again, a timed event. We don't have a set number of laps. It's however many they can run within the time distance of 60 minutes. Back out front, Terry Crouch still with the race lead, but Flo Doms has cut into it, but ever so slightly. Flo has picked up his best lap. It's a minute 54.81. Last time by for Flo was a minute 54.83. So he's laying down some good laps. And in fact, Terry Crouch's last lap, minute 55.98, possibly his slowest of the race so far. Again, only 8 laps in, putting lap 9 up on the board right now. Terry getting into some lap traffic. That may have something to do with it. Mercedes gives him the lane to take the spot away. Josh Heggie and Nick Batista there in the rear view. Missed an incident on track. EJ Fuellner and Joe Tucker may be coming together here. Let's see what happens. Oh, Fuellner just locks up the front tires. Nothing significant for the 113 machine. Let's see what happened here with Joe Tucker in the BMW. This was into turn 1, 2, late on the brakes. Seemed to be moving pretty good there. Just came around on him. Not a severe incident by any means. Continues on. And Terry Crouch still trying to work through some slower GT traffic as he's starting to catch the tail end of that GT field. Already 17 minutes in. We're a little bit late for a break here. We're going to go HBR TV side by side. So stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Circuit of the Americas, 21 minutes about to go up onto the board. Terry Crouch still the race lead. Almost some contact between E.J. Fuellner and Sean Roberts. Side by side down the backstretch now between 11 and 12. Quickly dispatching Chris Gomes. Brian Zinn continues to lead in GT. Flo Dom's trying to get by. Almost some contact there. I don't know if Zinn didn't expect him to go to the driver's left. Doms, though, back 17 seconds now from Terry Crouch. Top 7 drivers still yet to make a pit stop. James Coulibaly in the pits. Some damage on the nose of the Daniel Clark machine. Not sure where that has come from. He uses the fast repair. In fact, let's get a look at it and see what happened with Daniel Clark. High-sided it just a bit, gets on the curb, gets them all crossed up, and he makes pretty significant contact to the Tech Pro barrier. Able to drive away. Again, hits pit lane, uses that fast repair, so he's not out of this one yet. Still plenty of racing to go for the BMW. .23 minutes just about to go up on the board. Brian Zinn enjoying a healthy lead over Dave Seats now in second place. It's about 10.5 seconds back to the Mercedes. Again, as far as GT is concerned, most of those drivers, at least within, let's see, top 8, top 9 drivers yet to make their pit stops. A handful of GT drivers have. Mike Hamlin came in. Again, Hamlin, he's having a rough couple of weeks. He's made it. Not even a full lap here at COTA before he was out of this one. Tough break. So fast last week, unable to have anything to show for it, and unfortunately here this week, out of it almost immediately. Josh Heggie down pit lane in the Ferrari. Heggie with his Ferrari up on the jacks. He's going to take tires here. Should be plenty to get him to the finish as far as the tire strategy goes, but likely a stop and go for fuel at the end of this. Lee Tucker finishing up his pit stop as well, 23.6 seconds. Remember, Sean Roberts making his pit stop at lap 6, and here comes the race leader, Terry Crouch, in the pit lane. 25 minutes in. Let's see if he takes tires. I'm kind of thinking he might. Track temperature relatively cool, though. 75 degrees Fahrenheit. See if he stays on the ground. Oh, has to come forward just a bit, up on the jack. Very, very slight mistake. Just short in the pit box. Has to pull forward a couple of feet, if that. He is going to take tires here along with the fuel. This may set him up, same situation we talked about, for a stop and go, a splash and go for fuel at the end. You see Flo Dom's there also going up on the jacks. Terry is down and away. Gennarelli is taking over the top spot as he's staying on the racetrack. Flo Dom's opting to use the same strategy as Terry Crouch. Kevin Blue in the pits. Really small pit boxes here, apparently. Kevin Blue just inches off the rear diffuser of Flo Doms. Doms drops the jack. He's down and away. Same story for Kevin Blue. It's going to be tires and fuel for the 54. Taking a look at the pit stop time, 25:58 for Terry Crouch. Remember, he had to pull forward just a hair to get into the pit box properly. Flo Doms at 23:40. Kevin Blue at 25:15. Rodnick finishing up his stop. EJ Fuellner in the pits as well. Apex Tech Racing Supply machine. Fuellner going to take fuel and tires. And just shy of 27 minutes in. We're not quite halfway as of yet. Rejoins the race here. So the eyes go on Chris Gennarelli as he hits pit lane here for his first stop of the day, just north of 27 minutes in. It's going to make for a very short splash and go here at the end of this. We'll see if that strategy pays off. The 19 slowly coming down pit lane. Chris Pio still on the track. He peels off. He hits pit road as well. Gennarelli in the box, goes up on jacks as well. It's going to be tires and fuel, I think, for just about everybody. But this may cycle Sean Roberts around in such a way that, I don't know, we'll see how it pans out the rest of this race. He did not take tires on that first stop. Granted, that was about 9 laps ago. Lap 6 for Sean Roberts. Fuellner. Is Fuellner back in here? No, that's Chris Pio. Chris Pio with a different bait scheme this week, very similar to EJ. Also with Apex Tech Racing Supply. Dave Seats in GT, he comes down. Rob Henry now your new race leader. Brian Zinn back in the 3rd position while Dave Seats gets his pit work completed. Zinn already made his stop at lap 12. He's going to cycle back through, at least take the 2nd spot while Henry stays on the track. Henry not making a pit stop just yet. Question for that, Rob Henry, another Mercedes driver, can he make this another minute and a half? Can he make it a one-stop race? If he can do that, he's got a really good chance at a victory here tonight if he can pull that off. He still has to get through. He's working through turns 8, 9, and 10 right now. He'd have to go back to the main straightaway here, complete one more full lap. I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on this here again. Henry with the race lead in GT. He's got a 12-second advantage over Brian Zinn. Henry's best lap is a 2:08 flat. Brian Zinn a 2:06.61. Again, with a half an hour left. I think his only opportunity here might be to save enough fuel to go on a one-stop strategy. I don't know if he's going to have enough. Keep an eye on Henry here. If he passes by pit lane this time by and does not stop, that would confirm his strategy. Maybe he's just saving a lot of fuel. Again, he's not quite on pace as the fast guys. Brian Zinn. Zinn with a 2:06.61 is his fastest lap of the day. 2:08 flat for Rob Henry. It's still going to be tight. We're just past halfway. Henry making his first pit stop of the day. Very curious how this one's going to play out. Tires and fuel for Henry. Kind of surprised he's taking tires here. Again, given that you're trying to make this a one-stop strategy, I don't know, maybe you just take fuel and then go, and you continue to save fuel the rest of the race. You don't push the car too hard. You really don't need to rely on the extra added grip from the fresher tires. Rob Henry down and away, 22.05 seconds. 31 minutes up on the board, so we're officially past halfway. Be really curious to see how this pans out for Henry. He's back out there. He went just about 30 minutes on that one load of fuel. You go 30 minutes from right now. Again, no pace lap right now either, so he might be okay to the end. We'll see how this one goes. Check on him here in another 15-20 minutes and see how it's looking for Rob Henry, as those other drivers that have made their pit stops already will absolutely need to make another stop. So, leader in GT once again, it's Brian Zinn in the Porsche. Nick Matthews back in 19th overall, 8th in category. Getting word Daniel Clark and Nick Matthews both have crashed on separate laps, so look at Matthews first and see what happened to him. Battling with the race leader, Terry Crouch, down into turn one, just loses the car. Let's see what happened here with the BMW of Daniel Clark. Drives it way deep. Just goes wide. Checking on Chris Goins here, again, now in a different car another time. He started the season in the LMP2, jumped over to GT, now he's going to run the Audi. Chris Goins sporting the Popple sponsorship on his Audi. Spotters telling us there was an issue with EJ Fuellner and Nick Batista, independent of each other, I believe. Let's see what happened with Nick first. Nick in the white and green Mercedes. Just overdrove it and then jump on the brakes too hard. Terry Crouch avoiding that one. EJ Fuellner, let's see what happens here. Similar situation, just locks up the rear tires, doesn't even spin around this time, but slows them enough. Drew Prowl just having an issue on track as well. Let's back this one up, see what happened to the KFC machine. Of course, I got to see that one. I'm starving over here. Could go for a bucket of chicken myself. I think it really just comes down to either too much rear brake in a combination with not enough downforce. You see the BMW coming around, and really Drew just trying to get things out of the way here, letting some traffic go by without becoming a problem. 35 and a half minutes in of 60 here at COTA. James Coulibaly working on Chris Pyle. This is for position. All three of these drivers on the same lap, so Pyle, Coulibaly, and Tucker battling for this position on the racetrack. Coulibaly is right there. Gets to the inside. And this is on a turn 20. We'll see if Coulibaly has the draft down the main straightaway here, down into turn number 1. No! Pyle drives it deep. Sorry, Lee Tucker drives it deep. Almost contact with Coulibaly. Lets Chris Pyle get away just a bit. Meanwhile, Sean Roberts having a problem out on the racetrack. We'll see what happens here to the 66. Again, Sean battling some sciatic pain. And turn 1. Oh, Kevin Blue tried to go to the inside, thought better of it. Does a good job avoiding the 66. So does the rest of the GT traffic. Plus, I think that was Chris Generelli. Josh Heggie running in 5th in GT. Ryan Zinn just running away with this one here. 24 seconds, the advantage over Dave Seats. The Mercedes running in 2nd spot. Rob Henry in 3rd. He's another 9 seconds back from Dave Seats, so a ways back. No real battles to speak of. Daniel Clark, Josh Heggie really the closest for the time being, but even with that said, it's 3 seconds back to Heggie. Meanwhile, Sean Roberts in pit lane. This could be his final stop of the day. Did not take tires on lap 6, but we've been, lap 20 now, and he misses the box. Has to back it up. That's going to cost him some time. He's definitely taking tires, so that car goes up on the jacks. Long stop for Sean Roberts. It's 22, 23, 24, 25 and counting. Drops the jack. 25.77, the pit stop for Sean Roberts. EJ Fuellner in the pits as well. His final stop of the day. Terry Crouch still well in command of this race. 18 seconds back to teammate Flo Doms. It's just a Tuesday evening cruise for the driver, the number 59. Kevin Blue still having a solid run here, keeping his number 54 within the top 3. Last lap for Kevin Blue of 55.72. That's a 1 minute 55.72. Terry Crouch, though, he is still moving. Minute 53.96 was his last lap. Remember, he made his pit stop at lap 13. They're on lap 21 currently. Well, just over 40 minutes in, we're going to take our final HBR TV side-by-side break. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marcos Garza when
Back at Circuit of the Americas, 44.5 minutes down, or just about 15 minutes to go. Terry Crouch running away almost 20 seconds over the 13 of Flo Doms. James Coulibaly just wrapping up his final pit stop of the day in the 007 Alfa Romeo. Nick Matthews in the Audi with a Shenandoah Shine, lunatic racing driver. Matthews coming out just behind Flo Doms in the second position in LMP2. Kevin Blue, if you can hear me, throw a caution. Let's tighten this field up. I kid. Henry and Daniel Clark, the battle for position here. Still got to think about here, Rob Henry. Remember, he made that pit stop just about perfect at the halfway point of this race. You got to wonder, has his whole strategy been fuel conservation mode the entire time? It very well could be, trying to make this a one-stop race. Haven't seen anybody really get that done so far this season. But if he can, it could certainly help him. He runs third currently, so even if he is in fuel save mode, he's having a solid run, still sitting in a podium position. But for how long? Daniel Clark attacking hard here. We'll see if he can get on by. Maybe a little mistake for Clark there in the rhythm section of the race course. Turn 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then down here to hard left turn 11 hairpin. I think it's worse than a hairpin, really. Really, really important to get a strong exit out of that turn 11 corner down this straightaway, wide open for a good amount of time, but then real heavy braking again down into turn 12. Lee Tucker gets on by. Oh, somebody else trying to squeeze through. That's Chris Pio. Maybe a little contact with the BMW. Really allowing Rob Henry to get away in that third spot. And Brian Zinn from the race lead in GT. He hits pit road for his final stop of the day. Less than 15 minutes remain. Dave Seats in the second spot, still 31 seconds back, and Zinn has completed his stop. Looks like fuel only 11.87 seconds for Brian Zinn. He's going to get out there with plenty of a gap back to the Mercedes. So Zinn just going down through turns 1, then 2. Dave Seats in the second spot. Now he's just going through turn 2. Gained a lot of ground here. He's 3 seconds back, but again, don't forget, Seats made his first pit stop lap 13, so he's going to have to come down here in the next lap or so as well. So he's going to give up a ton of track position. That's going to shake things up. Rob Henry, though, this is still the unknown. We keep talking about this with the fuel strategy that he's got to employ. If he can make this one all the way to the end, obviously he's not in a position to win this race, as Brian Zinn has already completed his final stop, and he's still got a 14.5 second advantage over the 0-2. But if Henry can stay out, knowing that Dave Seats has to pit, knowing that Daniel Clark has to pit, and just about everybody else, Josh Heggie, however, made his stop at lap 22. I'd be curious to see if he's done pitting for the day. He might be. Just have to keep an eye on this and see how things play out the next 10.5 minutes. Terry Crouch with almost an insurmountable advantage over Flo Doms. As long as he just runs this race cleanly to the finish, definitely going to have a win in hand. Chris Generelli in the third spot, Lee Tucker in P6. Meanwhile, Daniel Clark in the pit lane for his final stop of the day. Going to be fuel only for the BMW. And here comes Terry Crouch from the race lead, his last stop of the afternoon with less than 10 minutes to go. Undoubtedly, this will be fuel only, though he does have time to take tires if he wanted to. No need for it, though, even if Flo decides, I'm going to take tires. He won't have time to catch him. Again, with 9 minutes to go, Terry Crouch off and running here, 8.9 seconds of fuel, and that's that. Flo Doms up into turn number 1. He hasn't made his final stop of the day, or he has. Flo's last pit stop, lap 24. A longer stop compared to teammate Terry Crouch, 10.5 seconds. That explains the massive gap between the two, and Flo actually gets a little off course here, has to jump that curb, collects himself, gets it back on the racetrack and back at it, but still 22.5 seconds back. Flo also has quite the advantage over third place Gennarelli. It's about 16 seconds, and Chris still needs to make a pit stop himself. So Flo doesn't need to push at this stage. We know that Terry has more pace here at this particular course compared to Flo, so I don't see him catching Terry unless there's a problem. You want to be quick, but you don't want to hurry because it run the risk of making a mistake at that point, taking yourself out of points contention. Again, these two, Terry Crouch and Flo Doms, have kind of been every week, they're the challengers for these wins, regardless of where they end up having to start. Again, Flo had to go to the rear to start this one tonight. Worked his way up halfway through the field in that first lap, and since then is challenged all the way up into the top 2. Maintains that second position here with about 6.5 minutes to go. 7.5 minutes to go. Dave Seed still running in the second position. Still hasn't made his final pit stop of the day. Meanwhile, Chris Goins comes to the attention of his pit crew. Joe Tucker and Drew Prell, the bread in that sandwich. Chris Goins drops Jack. He's down and away. I don't know if Prell and Tucker are out of this one. They've been there for a while. Chris Goins back in the running. 18th overall, 12th in GT. Alec Vorotnik. Losing connection, but he's back in it. Likely his last stop. Check on Chris Gennarelli as well. He has yet to make his final pit stop of the race. We'll see if it's just a quick splash and go with 6 minutes left. Working through turns 8, 9, and then we'll see turn 10 here in just a second. Last pit stop came at lap 14. I can't imagine he's got enough fuel to go all the way to the end on that one stop alone. So Chris Gennarelli, one of only a couple of drivers left to make their final stop. Chris Pio, one of the others. As far as LMP2 is concerned. Rob Henry, however, has only made one pit stop thus far, and it was just as we approached halfway. I don't know if he's got enough to make it all the way to the end. I kind of think he might be okay, but without seeing the actual fuel data, it's hard to tell. Seeing as how he was able to come down pit lane just as it got halfway. He only had to go another 100 yards maybe to get to the start-finish. If he can do the same thing in the second stint as he did in the first, he might just make it. Meanwhile, Gennarelli making his last stop. Sounds like that car might be out of fuel as he comes to the attention of his crew. 7.2 seconds of fuel, and Gennarelli's back in it. Chris Pio out of turn 20 into pit lane as well for his final stop. .1 seconds for Chris Pyle. That's all he's going to need to get to the finish. Kevin Blue still hanging tough in the third spot. His final stop complete. Chris Generelli, his final stop also complete. Kevin Blue enjoying about a 6.6 second advantage over Generelli here. Would be in contention for a podium with just about 3 minutes to go. Kevin Blue trying to work through some traffic here. Henry still sits in the third spot in GT, but still that question remains. Dave Seats, is he on the same strategy? I can't imagine. He came a lap sooner than Henry, and it seemed like Henry pushed it to the absolute max as far as as far as fuel is concerned. It's getting awful late, though. You got to wonder if Seats and Henry both need to make a pit stop, or are they going to both try and stretch it all the way out to the end? You got to wonder, though, if they're both on similar strategies for the fact they both run the Mercedes, which means they're both running very similar fuel consumption. However, they are on open setup, so it's going to depend a lot on the downforce, the trim level on these race cars. You take a lot of drag out of the race car, of course, it's going to get better fuel mileage over the course of the run. Won't handle quite as nice. Maybe Dave Seats is driving this thing with a lot less downforce in it. Maybe he can absolutely go on one stop. Let's ride on board with Dave Seats. It sounds like he might be trying to save some fuel here. Nope, never mind. He's in pit lane. Minute and a half to go, and Seats has to peel off for his final stop of the day. It's absolutely going to be a splash and go. And Rob Henry's going to do the same. The one-stop strategy not working out. It seems like they tried, but here he is with just about 1 minute left in the race. Second and third place drivers both in pit lane for their last stop of the race. Now Terry Crouch likely to see the white flag this next time by if he hasn't already. In fact, this might be the final lap for Terry Crouch. We'll have to keep an eye on this. Terry Crouch as the race leader, still typing in the stream chat, confirming it is the final lap. Guy never ceases to amaze me. Working through turns 13 and 14. Now to the hard left turn 15, which will bring him up into the stadium section. Terry Crouch with a 24-second advantage over second place Flo Dubs. No pressure out back, no need to push, just get the car home clean. Ready for another checkered flag. Terry Crouch, one final corner, turn 20. Hammer down, checkered flag waving. Terry Crouch is gonna win here at COTA. Ryan Zinn, same thing, out of turn 20, flashing the lights. He'll take the checkered flag. Chris Goins has crashed on his final lap. Not sure if he got a run-in with an LMP2 machine. Let's take a quick look at it. Just start the lap through that rhythm section. Again, just gets that curb. We've seen this already happen to some other drivers. Hard impact to the Tech Pro. There you have it, race in the books. We're going to jump out, get a break out of the way. We'll have our race winners in the broadcast booth after this. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
back at Circuit of the Americas, round 9 of the PFR Sports Car Championship. And once again, Terry Crouch takes top honors in LMP2 and the overall. Let's get a word with our race winner, the driver of the number 59 machine, Terry Crouch at Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
I do. How you doing, Steve?
We're doing good, Terry. Congratulations on yet again another race win here at COTA. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but this place just certainly seemed to suit your driving style. You were fast right out of the box, put a good distance back on teammate Flo Doms in qualifying, and really never looked back in the race. A couple of close calls with GT, but man, tell us about your race.
Yeah, this is a track that I love. I know a lot of people don't like it, but especially in downforce cars, I think it's such a rhythm track, and it's flat, and you don't hop a lot of curbs, so that thing's right in my wheelhouse. And I had a feeling I'd be strong here, so I just needed to get a gap as quick as I could, and hopefully, catch traffic the right way, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
Well, talk about love-hate relationship with racetracks next week. It's going to be interesting. We're going to Long Beach, California, the street circuit here, class racing. The last time this series ran a sports car race there, lap 1 was quite chaotic. What can we expect next week out of the 59, even though you're going to be in the back?
Well, I don't know how many cars are going to show up, so I'm thinking I'm certainly not going to be jumping as many as I can, because you try and go 3 wide in a turn 1 there and you're dead. So I'm going to be as calm as I can, and if we only get 9-10 LMPs, it's all about being smart, not being fast.
Pick them off one by one. You got an hour to get it done. How do you feel about your chances, though, starting from the rear?
Most weeks I'd say I got no shot, especially because Flo and I tend to book in the field each week. But that's a place you could knock a fender in, or have traffic at the wrong time, the whole race could come unwound. So I'd say 50-50.
Well, that's pretty good odds considering, though, even starting out in the back. Not sure how good Flo is there or not. It very well could be very similar to this week, where you've got the pace on him, but again, he's got to worry about the traffic, and of course, no runoff to speak of there on the street circuit. So certainly going to be a fun one to watch, Terry. We look forward to it. And again, congratulations on the race win here tonight at COTA. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
As always, the wife, daughter were watching. I don't think they were chatting tonight, so they were giving you a break. But my boys at TLDR, looks like Dave almost pulled some fuel shenanigans out, so that was cool to see. And Flo, he's always so fast. No matter how far back he is, it's always pressure he's applying. And tonight, Brian's in, because I know he hadn't won one yet. So congratulations to him. That was pretty cool to see.
We'll pull Brian up here in just a minute, but yep, takes the checkered flag in GT, so that's always a plus. But Terry, again, congratulations, man. Thanks for talking to us, and I wish you the best of luck next week at Long Beach.
Thanks, Steve. Take care.
It's Terry Crouch, your race winner here in LMP2. Next, we're going to talk to Brian Zinn in the Porsche, finally getting that race win that Terry had mentioned. Get the thoughts of the driver of that Porsche, the 082. Brian Zinn at Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good, sir. Congratulations on a race win here at COTA. You look strong right out the gate. Took the pole position in qualifying and never really looked back. Some guys in the Mercedes, Dave Seitz and Rob Henry, may be trying to make it a one-stop race. They were not able to do that. You subsequently still take the checkered flag here at COTA. What's the secret to this place? Does it just fit your driving style?
I'd say it's a little bit of home cooking too. It's my home track. I live about half an hour away from it, so I always love coming to race here. I've just enjoy the flow of it. I've just seemed to have something figured out that a lot of people struggle with. I know it's a love or hated track, and I'm one of those that's definitely in the love it camp.
It sounds like me and Watkins Glen. We're headed there tomorrow morning, only about an hour and a half from there, and that's honestly the same situation. I tend to do my best when I run there. It's kind of what we've tried to do. Every video game, every simulation I could possibly get behind the wheel at the Glen, that's where I'm at. And I would assume it might be the same for you here at COTA. So it certainly paid off as far as lap times, or I think I should say seat time is concerned.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Next week, certainly things are going to change up pretty considerably. You got this FIA purpose-built racetrack, and next week we're going to go to Long Beach, California, the street circuit with these cars. Certainly a completely different animal. How do you feel about your chances next week?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was looking at Dave and the relative, and I said, well, I wonder if he's kind of playing possum a little bit because he didn't want to EOL Long Beach next week. So, I'm looking forward to it. I love Long Beach. I love the challenge that it is. It's one of my favorite street circuits. So, I know I got a big challenge having to come from the back, but hoping to avoid the carnage that's inevitable, put some good laps in, and hopefully, get a good result out of it as well.
Terry made an interesting point too. He says, I guess we'll see how many guys show up for it next week. Again, Long Beach being what it is, it can be pretty chaotic. Maybe you've got some guys that decide to sit this one out. We'll see. Or maybe it's a blessing in disguise. You start from the rear of the field, everybody else in front of you wads it up in turn one, and you're getting there scot-free. Just take your time through there and see what happens. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but time will tell. We'll be here next week to find out.
Yeah, definitely. If people show up great, the way I looked at it with this round was it was a track that I'm strong at, and with me being in the championship hunt, I needed to maximize points as much as I could. So, if the trade-off is an EOL next week, we'll take it in stride and see what comes up.
Well, Brian, again, congratulations on the race win here at COTA. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I just want to shout out to my wife for tolerating me doing this. But other than that, just the Bozo Tower guys. It's just a group of friends, and we, kind of created this thing, and it's been a lot of fun. So I just want to shout out to them as well. They've been with me through this journey, and yep, that's pretty much it.
Of all the broadcasting I've done over the past couple of years, the post-race interview in the mentions to the girlfriends and the wives, I think, is the number one response, especially out of the race winners. Of course, you've dedicated a lot of time to throw down some practice, and you're always sitting in that rig, and they tolerate it. It's really cool to hear. But, yeah, those are the true crew chiefs, I guess, in the background, is the wives and the girlfriends letting it all go down.
Absolutely. That thing about racing wives, it works in the sim world, too.
100%. Well, Brian, again, congratulations, man. Thanks for talking to us. Wish you the best of luck next week at Long Beach.
Thanks, Steve. See y'all next week.
This is Brian Zinn, your race winner for GT3. That's going to wrap it up for our winner interviews. Let's take a look at the official race results. Of course, we'll start here with LMP2. Your race winner was indeed Terry Crouch. Flo Doms was second. Kevin Blue brought it home in the third position. A nice podium for the driver, the number 54. Chris Generelli, fourth place. Alec Vorotnik was fifth. Brandon Dilmane, sixth. Sean Roberts was seventh. Sciatic nerve pain and all. Chris Pyle was 8th. 9th went to Lee Tucker. Our 10th place finisher was James Koulibaly. 11th, EJ Fuellner. 12th was, it says Chris Goins. We're still trying to get that straightened out because he started the season in LMP2, but he's actually a GT3 driver, but I digress. GT3 results. We'll back this up here just a bit. Brian Zinn, of course, your race winner. Dave Seitz was second. Rob Henry finishes in the third spot. Daniel Clark, fourth. Josh Heggie brought it home in the fifth position. Sixth was Travis Stevens. Nick Batista, seventh. Eighth place was Nick Matthews. Joe Tucker was ninth. Drew Prale, 10th. And 11th was Mike Hamlin. It seems to be the only results that I'm getting here, just based on some changes with drivers that didn't continue to run the same car that they started the season with. Kind of screws things up slightly as far as the standings go, but the race admins will certainly get that straightened out so that the points are correct. But that is what we've got for tonight. Circuit of the Americas, race number 9 in the books. It was a fun one. It wasn't a super exciting one. Sometimes that happens. You got a guy like Terry Crouch that can get out in front of the field and just run away with it. He did a great job of that. Brian Zinn did the same. Again, a home race for Brian. Knows every nook and cranny of this place, and that home race advantage really does help you out quite a bit, and it paid off certainly for Brian Zinn. With all that said, thank you guys all for tuning in. Not a real busy stream chat. Let's try to change that next week for Long Beach. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about. If you guys haven't already done so, check out the new website. It's hbrtv1.com. And check us out, of course, on the streaming platform. That is youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. Give us a like, a follow, a share, and subscribe. Those likes really make a huge difference in the stream as far as how many new eyeballs get to see it. That helps not only the channel, but also the league. So give us a like on that stream, regardless of when you watch it, whether it's live as it happened or later on down the road. Just help us out. We do appreciate it. It's going to wrap it up for us here at HBR TV. Congratulations to Terry Crouch and Brian Zinn, both winning their class here at Circuit of the Americas. We'll see you guys next week at Long Beach. We're off to the Glen. We'll see you in a week. Have a good night.